A young man found himself facing a daunting legacy, one that had been passed down through generations in his family. After the death of his father, the responsibility to wield an ancient mystical power fell to him. But he refused to serve this power blindly, declaring that he needed to witness the spirit his father had served before he could take up the mantle. He brought his demands before the council of elders, urging them to show him the spirit. The elders, puzzled by his request, called upon all the oracles to divine what it would take for him to encounter the ancient being. When the oracles spoke, their words carried a heavy price. They told him that to behold the spirit, he would have to vanish from the world for a year. During this time, he must not see another human face. He must refrain from bathing, and he would need to fast for 82 hours every week. At the end of this year-long ordeal, he would have to bathe in the blood of an ox, which he alone would provide. With unwavering determination, the young man accepted these terms, acquired the ox, and embarked on his grueling journey of solitude and sacrifice. After enduring the harsh trials of isolation and hunger, the year came to an end. He performed the final ritual, bathing in the blood of the ox. At last, the spirit appeared before him, its presence powerful and foreboding. "Why do you disturb me?" the spirit asked, its voice echoing through the air. The young man replied with conviction, "I disturb you because I must know you. I cannot serve what I do not understand." The spirit extended its hand and said, "Shake my hand." And from that moment on, the young man was transformed, imbued with extraordinary powers that flowed through him like a river of ancient strength. He emerged not just as a successor, but as a man whose encounter with the supernatural changed his destiny forever. With the ancient power now coursing through him, the young man returned to his community, no longer just the heir to a legacy, but a force to be reckoned with. The power he wielded was unlike anything the people had ever seen. With a mere wave of his hand, storms would subside, crops would flourish, and illnesses that once plagued the villagers disappeared without a trace. His presence alone brought a sense of peace and safety, as if an invisible barrier shielded the entire community from harm. Word of his newfound abilities spread quickly, and soon people from distant lands sought him out for his wisdom, his power, and his protection. He became a guardian, a protector against both physical threats and supernatural dangers. When wild beasts threatened the farmlands, he called upon the spirits of the forest to keep them at bay. When rival tribes waged war, he commanded the winds to drive them away, as lightning flashed in his eyes and thunder rolled at his command. The people saw in him a protector who could shield them from the storms of life, both literal and metaphorical. Under his guidance, the community flourished like never before. With every problem that he solved, their reverence for him deepened. They began to see him not just as a leader, but as a living embodiment of the divine. With time, the man's connection to the spiritual realm became even more profound. He would spend nights alone atop the hills, communing with the ancient spirits, listening to the whispers of the wind and the wisdom of the earth. His presence became so powerful that some said he could step between this world and the spirit realm at will. Legends grew around him, stories of how he walked through fire unscathed, how he parted rivers, and even how he spoke the language of the spirits. The elders, recognizing that he had transcended the role of any mere mortal leader, built an altar in his name at the heart of the village. This altar became a place where the people offered their sacrifices and prayers, seeking his favor and protection. They believed that through this altar, his spirit could hear their petitions even when he was far away, and that he would intervene on their behalf. As the years passed, his physical form seemed to grow more ethereal, as if he no longer fully belonged to the world of men. One night, during a great festival held in his honor, he vanished. Some say he ascended into the heavens, called back by the ancient spirit he had sought to understand. Others believe he merged with the very earth and sky he had once commanded, becoming a part of the eternal forces he had wielded. Yet, his influence never left the people. They continued to gather at the altar, praying for rain, for peace, and for protection from the unknown. When storms threatened the land or shadows lurked in the forests, the villagers swore they could hear his voice in the wind, guiding them, protecting them. They believed that as long as they honored him, his spirit would remain their shield against all dangers. And so, the young man who had once sought to know the ancient spirit became one himself, a deity worshipped by his people, whose power and presence could not be erased from their hearts. His story became legend, and his name was spoken in reverence, for he had not just taken up the mantle of his father, but had become a force that would never be forgotten.